One of the things that my research looked at was, depending on what type of pornography you looked at or what type of an affair, anonymous or with someone that you knew, or the type of sex that you pursued to buy, could those things be shaped, if not fully predicted, based on our life story? And what we found out is that they actually could. So let me give you a couple examples. For one, we found that, let's say that you were a man who wanted to see a blonde or a college student or a teenager, or maybe a race that suggested to you some level of subservience. If that was what you found sexually arousing, that sexual fantasy could be shaped and predicted by three categories. One was that this man was dealing with a lot of lack of purpose in his life. The second was that he had a very strict father growing up, and he was dealing with high levels of shame. And so when you begin to unpack that and just think about the psychological profile of a man who's pursuing blondes and college students, well, part of what you'll begin to see is that his father powered over him, very much used rigidity and control in order to dominate that man as a child. And he's also dealing with a lot of lack of purpose in his life, meaning that he looks back at his life and sees a lot of failure. He doesn't know how to direct his life to the ultimate desires of his heart. And so he's really struggling with purpose and knowing how to get something done. And he's feeling really ashamed of himself. Well, guess what he's going to seek out in his sexual fantasy life? He's going to reverse that power imbalance by now being able to have power over another human being. And instead of feeling like a lack of purpose, like I don't know how to get something done, pornography creates a world where he cannot fail. He can get exactly what he wants whenever he wants it. And that's what I'm inviting people to do with this kind of sexual arousal template, is what we call it in the field, of being able to be really curious about your sexual fantasies. Or let's say that you were a woman who felt like your needs were not being met in your life. Well, that woman was nearly 5 times more likely to pursue an anonymous affair. So that's not just saying that her husband or her community needs to be more attentive to her. Well, a lot of times in the church, especially, we create virtue out of women not having much of a voice or having much of their own desires. So this could be like an Enneagram 2, like the helper, where it's become virtuous to just not express your needs or not to engage them. Well, that's back to that core point of many times our sexual life is far more honest than we are. And so that's where I would invite both men and women to see their sexual fantasies and their sexual behaviors, and to kind of say, how is my sexual brokenness revealing something about what needs to heal within me? And instead of outsourcing that to a sexual fantasy, how can I have the integrity to address some of the pain and the heartache within? So that's one of those categories in my book, is really inviting people to see their sexual arousal, and instead of just feeling shame, to get really, really curious about it.